How's it going, Habibis? Sorry I'm at this angle. I just had a minor knee procedure done yesterday, so I got my leg elevated. But the grind don't stop. We are coming at you with a Dracotail Dark Magician deck. This deck took me a little bit to get out because I didn't exactly have the best luck with my pulls when I was trying to pull for it on stream. So we had to grind a little bit, get some more gems. And here we are. We got the deck list. Now, Dark Dragons, Spellcasters, two types that have always been kind of connected to Dark Magician. So it only makes sense that we try a Dracotail DM deck because Dracotail is a new archetype that combines Spellcasters and Dragons, and there is some synergy there. Now, I have made so many different versions of this deck. I'm going to talk about a few of them at the end of the video, and we're going to go over some replays, show you guys what this deck can do. I'm really impressed with it so far. I like it. I'll tell you the main one that I've been using, and then I'll show you some other ones that I haven't really tested yet. Also, when the new Dark Magician support drops, Dracotail DM actually gets even better. So we'll talk about that, but first, let's go into some replays, guys, and be sure to like this video if you enjoy my content so I can make more for you guys. It helps out so much. Also, sub to the channel. We're very close to 7K. Well, we're getting there. We're getting to 7K. I'd love to reach 7,000 subscribers. Thank you guys in advance. Now, enjoy the duels. Let's get to it. All right, Habibis, I think it's only fitting that we show our very first duel with this deck and showcase what we can do, what we can play through. So here you're going to see right off the bat, we are playing a small Primite engine. I say small, you'll see the deck list at the end, because the ratios are a little bit different than you might be used to. And despite getting Maxx C here, because of the Primite engine, we're actually able to set some stuff up despite the Maxx C, while essentially making our opponent take a -1 on that. As you saw, they ashed my Ketu Dracotail. So now I'm just kind of left with my Drill Beam, which is fine. We have a Dark Magician in hand and my Dracotail Sting. Okay, so I'm going to stop this backup adding Neister. I really thought it was probably the best negate there. Now, unfortunately, it did have the one of Gold Sark. They're just the better player. So I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna lose my first duel here. I really wasn't feeling it. So I said, let me try to get a draw here, something beneficial. I didn't really use the Dracotail Sting super effectively because I couldn't banish a card that would have, you know, affected them. Like, it would have been great to be able to use this against a Splash Mage, for instance. But luckily, my thinking was I got to draw into Effect Veiler. I drew into Ash Blossom, but then they go into Chessy Cat, and I'm able to Ash the Chessy Cat. So pretty good heart of the cards moment there. We drew what we kind of needed to stop the opponent. So now they're going to go Splash Mage, right? And normally you think this is a GG. However, with Red Ransom gone, this deck changes drastically. They have to go Transcode Talker, and you're going to see something here, you know, no offense to any Maliss players, but I was truly, truly disappointed when I saw what this guy's going to do next, okay? People do not want to let go of this deck because they have made Maliss turn into a Floodgate deck. That's how desperate they are. I was shocked to see this. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Let's see what we can do. So we activate our second Ketu Dracotail. And because they control a monster, we can now fuse using the Lucius and the Dark Magician in our hand to summon our Thalion. Okay? Now, our Thalion is going to return the Axis Code Talker. Then we're going to add back the Ether Barrel. Ether Barrel is going to set the Lordly Load. And then we're going to reset our Drill Beam and activate Lordly Load. I believe now the opponent's going to scoop because they're going to realize Dracotail Dark Magician is just better than Maliss. Who knew? We do now. Let's go to the next replay. So I know a lot of people might say, okay, well, this is just a Dracotail deck. Da, da, da. And look, there might be some truth to that. I totally understand. I get it. However, we do utilize the Dark Magician engine very effectively. Very effectively here, you're going to see, right? So what I do here, this is maybe not the most advisable thing, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get rid of Rahu Dracotail. The reason I do this is because Rahu Dracotail, it locks you into fusion summoning. So this was kind of a high risk, medium reward for me. But I have so much confidence in the deck because I do feel like it's constructed pretty consistently. And we draw into Ketu Dracotail, which is so much better than the Rahu. because you're going to see we're going to come back to the Rahu. We summon out the Lucius. We're going to go find Mina, okay? Using the Dark Magician in our hand along with the Lucius to summon out our Thalion, okay? Our Thalion is going to add back the Femina, and then that Lucius effect, right? Because all the Dracotail cards, for those that don't know, when they are fusion summoned, when they're sent to the graveyard as fusion material, they can set a Dracotail spell or trap from the deck. Every single Dracotail card can do that. Some having a little bit extra of an effect too, which is nice. So now we're going to set our Rahu Dracotail from the deck. And now I'm going to go into, what am I going to go into here, guys? We're going to go into Verte, okay? Now let's talk briefly about Verte. You guys are going to see what we're going to Verte into. It's not what you're used to. Verte, may we pray that Verte does not get banned because of branded Dracotail. So far, I don't think it's a problem, what I've seen on the ladder, but it's only been a few days. We'll see after this Duelist Cup that's coming up. If you guys want to see me grind the Duelist Cup, be sure to check out my Twitch stream. I will be grinding it probably while you're watching this video, so go check it out, drop a follow. If you want to see me duel, if you want to hang out and talk to me. Anyways, Verte is very beneficial for us, okay? Especially because of these Dark Magicians and the Magician Souls. You're going to see here in a second. We had to go into Verte because Rahu, remember, like I just said, is going to lock us into fusion summoning. So we have to go Verte first. Now we activate Rahu, okay? Sending the Urgula to the graveyard and the Femina. Now, unfortunately here, I did want to use Urgula's effect to add back Femina. However, you're going to see, I did need to use the Urgula for other things. So now that Femina was used as fusion material as well as Urgula, we get to set 2 spells and traps. And then our Thalion gets to summon himself because 2 or more monsters were sent to the graveyard at the same time. So a little bit of recursion there. And now we're going to activate Verte to send Magicalized Fusion. It's been a while since we've seen this card. I genuinely think it's better than Ref in this build because we consistently have dragons and spellcasters, Dark Magician, in our graveyard. And we also have recursion for those banished spells and for those banished Dracotail cards, because whenever you activate one of these Dracotail traps, you could place a Dracotail card from your graveyard or banishment on the bottom of the deck. So, you know, even though I'm going to banish my Urgula here, you're going to see, right? Dark Magician, Urgula. I can bring back the Urgula into my deck. And I do play Urgula at 1 in this build. So, great recursion there. Here we have Gulamel, we have Dragoon, we have Ash. This, you know, let's watch this duel. Credits this player, he does well. We're gonna activate Flame. The reason I activate Flame is because I need the draw. I don't want to have to discard the Ash Blossom if I don't have to, okay, to use Dragoon's effect. Something great about this deck that has great synergy with Dragoon, and even potentially setting up 2 Dragoons, maybe foreshadowing for later, we'll see, is you need cards in your hand, right? And because these traps allow you to draw a card, that is actually huge for the Dragoon negate. Here we're going to activate Sting. They're going to Ash the Sting, okay? So now here, unfortunately, I feel like I need to negate that Ash. So I get rid of Femina. It would have been nice to be able to fuse with her, but that's okay. Fusing with Femina during your opponent's turn is huge. So powerful. Okay, we draw another card. Now I'm going to activate Horn, getting rid of their Kagari, but they Ghost Spell the Horn. So the downside to these cards, guys, the downside to these traps, they're Ash and Bell susceptible, and heavily Ash and Bell susceptible. So keep that in mind when you're playing. Unfortunately, he's able to take my Arthalion, attack into my Dragoon, kind of break my board here, but that Ash Blossom that we have been sitting on is about to come up to good use. We're going to Ash the Shizuku, and that is going to effectively end their turn with absolutely nothing. And we have our Keto Dracotail, which we were able to draw into because of all of the follow-up that this deck is able to generate. And then we chain the Gulamel for a pop, and Tag Blood here, Tang Blood, saw enough. They said, dang, my Sky Striker deck is inferior to Dracotail DM. All right, that duel took a little bit longer, so hopefully I'll blab a little bit less for this one. We're going to go through it quickly. Going up against Suffers here, we're going to utilize our Primite Engine, get hit with Maxx C. That's okay. You know, I could Ash it. I'm going to keep it simple here. Sometimes drawing to these traps is not the worst thing in the world because they are good negates during your opponent's turn. So we have the Trap, we got the Drill Beam, we have the Ash, we got the Drew Swarm. Let's see what we can do. So Saji is a good Ash here, especially when they start with Habakiru. So I know that's sitting in their hand. And we're going to Ash the Saji. Next, they're going to go Fiendsmith Engine. I'm not worried about the Fiendsmith Engine. I know the Drew Swarm can disrupt the Fiendsmith Engine whenever they decide to activate Engraver's Effect. So I wasn't worried about that. Now they're going to activate their Kusanagi and add back the prayers. They were waiting for me. They were trying to bait me into using my Drill Beam that they knew I had set. And they scooped it up because I was going to Drill Beam their, whatever it's called, the ritual. And they would have been screwed. So GG, quick and easy. Let's go to another one. All right, had a little mirror match here, a little Dracotail versus Dracotail Violence. Now, I know some of you guys are going to say, oh, where's the going second duels? We actually did win a lot of our coin flips, so we didn't have a ton of going second duels, but we won, I think, all 3 of them that we played going second. So they're really not entertaining. Some of them are just one of them is just Maxx C winning the game for me. So that's why I'm not showing it. It's mainly to see. This allows you to see what the deck can do, right? So here we're going to go our Thalion and set our Rahu Dracotail and add back that Ether Barrel. So despite Ether Barrel being in the hand and us also having our Lucius, which are both normal summons, we're going to make use of this Ether Barrel in the hand because we have Drill Beam, right? So that makes this Ether Barrel, makes this Drill Beam live because we have the Ether Barrel. So now our opponent here is going to go into Chaos Star Source Dragon, which is going to pop my Verte as well as my Rahu, which would be very detrimental. Also, Malulu is going to trigger. We're going to go Drill Beam. We're going to get rid of this Star Source Dragon. Okay? So it's a good thing that we added back that Ether Barrel. Always having an active Drill Beam in your hand is huge. They're going to set their Ketu Dracotail for follow-up, and then they're going to negate the effect of my Verte, unfortunately. Our Thalion does summon. Okay? Before we activate Rahu, we're going to go into SP Little Knight. So since Verte is kind of useless now, let's go SP Little Knight. Let's banish this Ketu, so now they don't have follow-up for next turn. They just have the 3 cards in their hand when they draw. We're going to go Rahu, and we're going to fuse into our Gulamel, sending the Urgula from the deck to the graveyard. Okay, allowing us to set our Flame, and then we're going to use Urgula's second effect to add Femina back to our hand. Okay, so now I know they're playing Dracotail. I know Dracotail Flame. If I can negate a Ketu or a Rahu, pretty much GG's, especially with only 3 cards in their hand. And then if I get drawn to a monster, I can maybe go into Secretariat Dragon, which the mirror match against Dracotail, guys, is basically who could set up Secretariat Dragon first. Luckily, we didn't even have to get that far because the Sting was enough, or the Flame was enough. And yeah, we won the mirror match. Going first helped too, not gonna lie. Anyways, let's go into another duel. All right, Habibis, we are going to wrap up with this one. Interesting duel here. You see a very familiar hand. Primite, Dark Magician cards, and Ash Blossom. And it looks like my opponent here is kind of playing a hand trap turbo deck. We just see a lot of hand traps this duel. So we're going to Ash that Maxx C because I did plan on special summoning. I was hoping to... I had a plan going into this, right? My plan here was to use, like we talked about earlier, the Dark Magician engine for huge card advantage, right? So we're going to draw 2 cards here, reset the Drill Beam. Unfortunately, we drew into another Souls and Urgula. So... not the best draws, but that's okay. I am A-okay with going into Dragoon plus an active Drill Beam. 2 Omni Negates versus 4 cards in hand. No big deal to me. 5 once he draws. So, Dragoon Drill Beam. End our turn. And I guess the guy was just, stuck on hand traps. That's all he did. Finally, we draw into some Dracotail Engine. We're going to go Lucius. Lucius is going to get ashed. I feel comfortable here negating that because I would like to be able to go for game here. So Lucius is going to grab, of course, Femina. Femina is kind of the bread and butter of this deck. And we're going to fuse using the Urgula and the Dark Magician in our hand to summon another Dragoon. Urgula is going to let us set a Speller Trap and then pop a Speller Trap on the field. And the double Goon was too much for our opponent. They said, F this, I'm out of here. Don't want to deal with it. A lot of fun with this deck, guys. We really do utilize the Dark Magician engine effectively. I do think that we get good use out of it. And you could say in some ways it does elevate the deck. I like that, okay? I like it. It lets us get out our big boy Dragoon. Now, let's go into some deck lists, and we'll talk about the version that I was playing that you saw in these duels. as well as a more fun version. All right, Habibis, this is the goo. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. I do want to be able to talk about the more fun version a little bit after this. But before we get into it, guys, if you enjoy this video, be sure to thumbs up it for me and sub to the YouTube channel. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Truly, I can't do this without you guys. So for starters, I do want to talk about the non-engine because it is interesting, right? The Bestials here, as well as the Veiler. I subbed out Imperm for Veiler, primarily because, as you guys know from watching this video, hopefully you guys did. If you didn't, go back and watch the duels. Really explains a lot. Fimine is the bread and butter of the deck, and you need monsters in the hand to fuse with her. So, and she doesn't count as a fusion, you know, so you're discarding her, plus you need 2 other monsters. So it is important that you have more monsters in your hand than spells and traps. So that's why I'm preferring Veiler over Imperm. On top of that, Veiler is a spellcaster. Same with the Bestials. They're dragons, and this deck wants to fuse spellcasters and dragons. So very beneficial there. Obviously, these are, you know, good hand traps as well. So that's a huge plus. Other than that, let's talk real quick about, we talked about Magician Souls. Great for generating advantage, great for getting bodies on the field, which is very important if you want to go Verte. I'll talk about Verte in just a sec, but also I've gone Magician Souls into Spirit, into Hieratic Seals. You guys know Hieratic Seals is a great disruption. Now, Verte, what are we Verteing into? You guys saw, we're Verteing into Magicalized Fusion. And Magicalized Fusion is so much better than a ref in this build because we're able to get DM to the graveyard very easily, primarily because of the Primite engine, as well as we get so many dragons to the graveyard. It's almost a guarantee if you have any plays, you're going to be able to set up Magicalized Fusion off of Verte. So huge there. I really like Magicalized Fusion in this build. A lot of TCG players that play Dracotail DM, Dracotail Dark Magician, they do not like it. They say it's not a good deck, primarily because they don't have this play. I think this helps us immensely, and we need to take advantage of it and pray that Konami does not ban it due to branded Dracotail also taking advantage of Verte. So may we protect and preserve Verte and make sure you utilize it if you're playing Dracotail DM. Other than that, guys, you guys saw the Primite engine. Got my baby boy Roar in here. You know I love that card. Special place in my heart. And the Dracotail stuff, pretty standard besides the 1 Malulu. We are playing 6 normal summons in the deck. You know, 3 Lucius, 2 Barrel, and 1 Malulu. So I do like Malulu at 1. You could play it at 2, but realistically 1's enough. I think we have enough Dracotail names in this deck. And it's very important, guys, that you know what these cards do so that you know how to disrupt your opponent with them, right? So Malulu is great, you know, to use as fusion material going second. Same with Urgula, because it can pop a spell or trap. This can pop a monster. So making sure you know how this works is key. If you guys want a combo guide, I think I can make a 2-card combo guide on this deck. Even though this deck is pretty easy to pick up, it does have a high skill expression to it. So if you guys want a combo guide, let me know in the comments below. I'll try my best to get that going for you. Now let's go into the more fun version of this deck, the more DM version of this deck real quick. We are playing the DM package a little bit stronger. We got our DM triangle set up here, which you can go into from time to time. But primarily what we're doing with this deck is we are playing King of the Swamp, which I'm sure you guys have seen this in other Dracotail decks. This allows us to go into Dragon Master Magia using the IOC. We're playing IOC at 3 to increase the chances of that. But also, King of the Swamp can be used as a substitute for DM to go into Dragoon. But another card that people always forget about, even with the new support, people are forgetting about it, is Dark Paladin. Do not sleep on this card, especially if you're going up against a striker player. You see those striker sleeves, you summon Dark Paladin with 3 cards in your hand, that's basically GG. So, very fun with this list. If you guys want to see some duels with this in the future, let me know in the comments below. I'll be sure to do it. Anyways, Habibis, until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys later. Peace and love.